I wanted everything. I wanted to be able to set my own agenda. I wanted to be able to spend time with my child. I wanted to be able to have an interesting job. And I wanted to be more ambitious. That's impossible, but not if you have your own business.
Hi, I'm Brent van der Goos, and thanks for listening to the Before and After Show, the podcast in which we are zooming in on specific moments in life that brought you further. My personal before and after moment was specifically last year when I was not happy in my job. Fortunately, I was lucky enough that CCV gave me the opportunity to figure out what I really like to do. I have to say it was quite a challenge and I had to do a lot of puzzling, but eventually I knew what to do. Make podcast. Podcast about personal stories, personal journeys, but most important, your personal events. These specific moments in life that brought you further. My manager loved the idea and said, go. So, enjoy this episode while walking, sitting, running, sleeping, or however you like to listen to podcasts. And let's start. Today's guest comes from a true entrepreneurial family. She didn't start her career as an entrepreneur, but eventually blood goes where it can't go, as they say it in Dutch. She has an interesting motto about ambition, and she started together with two partners a successful agency called Arthur and Brent. Please welcome Kitty Wilgers.
Thanks, Bram. I'm very
You're
happy
welcome.
to join you in your podcast.
Thanks for joining. I'm really excited that you are joining, and I'm looking forward to the conversation we are about to have.
Yeah, I'm as well. Absolutely.
Good to hear. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, very well. I was
Yeah.
actually not planning to come into the office, but as they're remodeling my house, I thought sawing and hammering in the background wouldn't be too good for a podcast. So I decided to come into the office anyway
Yeah.
for a more peaceful environment.
Is this your first podcast recording?
Yes, my very first podcast recording. So it's
And
it's a it's a first time moment. I think that's obviously every first time is exciting. So my first podcast.
exactly. Do you listen to podcasts yourself or not?
Yes, but not so often. I actually, I think I started listening to podcasts a few months ago. Everybody's talking about podcasts, everybody's picking them up. So I got some good tips from others
Hmm.
and I started listening. And I find it nice and I find it very relaxing, actually, depending on what you listen to. But it's hard to find the time to just sit and listen.
Yeah.
So I think I need a dog. Dog owners listen to podcasts all the time. So next plan is to get a dog.
Just to make sure that you can listen to it.
Yeah.
And you will listen to this one, I hope.
Yeah, if I can bear listening to my own voice, then yeah, that's always hard, right?
Yeah,
Listening to
yeah.
your own voice.
You'll get used to it eventually.
Yeah, I guess. Well, you have the experience.
Yeah, it's true. It's true. I listen to myself a lot, and it took some time to get used to it, but now it is what it is.
Yeah. Yeah, well, at least now you know how the rest of the world listens to you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's true. All right. Before we continue, let's start with some yes and or no question statements. You can only say yes or no, and these topics will be tackled during our conversation later on.
Okay.
First one is, in the future, I will work for an employee again.
No.
This is just a statement. Just do it.
Yes, definitely.
You should only listen to your ambition. That's the only thing what matters.
Yes, then. Yeah, yes, yes.
Yes. All right. Yeah, it's difficult. You can only say yes, but
Yeah.
along the way we will talk a bit more about these topics. But first, let's dive a bit deeper into your past, your childhood as well. How was your childhood? Did you enjoy it?
Yes, I did. I think, yeah. I think I
Yeah.
was it was a fairly normal childhood, no big hiccups, nothing special. I was kind of rolled my way through school. No big issues. No, always had enough friends, enough things to happen. Pretty nice parents, a sister. So that's not super exciting. My parents had a shop. We lived above the shop. So I remember spending half of my life in their shop. When I was a
Yeah.
little kid, I was allowed to bike the little bundles of wool from the store to the cash register for the customers, so that they
Nice.
could pay for their wool and things like that. I spent half my life there. When I came home from school, I would drink tea with the personnel in the shop, and my parents were sometimes there and sometimes they weren't. That was just, it was like a small community, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
That
fun.
sounds. Yeah, that sounds fun.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
it
And,
was.
and, and, and as a kid, did you dream of things you wanted to become when you were getting growing up?
Yeah, I wanted to be everything. So I wanted to be a journalist, a fashion designer, and own a candy store. And I saw no limitations there, only options. I thought everything could be done together. Absolutely.
All right. Do you think believe that? Do you still believe that?
Yeah, actually, I do. I still think you can do anything. If you really want to, you can.
Mm.
I still think I'm doing everything. Um, I think it's a mindset. I think you can do anything you really want to. Of course, there's limitations. If I want to be a vet right now, that would be a little bit difficult. It would take quite some time and hard work, but maybe I could. Um, but if you have ambitions that kind of, linger along the path that you've already chosen, I guess, yeah, anything can happen.
Yeah. Yeah. If you truly believe in it, I think
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah. It reminds me of visualizing things as well. So if you visualize things, that's what sporters do as well, right? Top
yeah,
athletes
yeah.
visualizing so that they are basically practicing the things they need to do to achieve their goals.
Yes,
Um,
I do believe in that as well. If you can visualize, I think your mind starts to kind of recognize the things that you have to do along the way. Your mind starts to kind of um, find a path towards your goal.
yeah,
And yeah, I guess that's what I do as well.
but, but how do you apply that? Because is this something you did as a child and you weren't really aware of it? Because now you can use it as a professional, right?
Yes, I think I've always done that indeed, and not as you say, not consciously, um, but I always kind of expected that things that I really wanted would be, possible, and I would find a way. I think I must have drove my parents really crazy when I was a kid, because I always had 1,000 arguments why things were indeed a good idea, why things were indeed possible, why we could, why we should. Uh, and usually my mom would just give up and give in. So that's my experience. Just keep going and you'll find your way. My
Yeah,
kids do the
exactly.
same. So I'm getting it back now.
And are you annoyed by it, or is it
Of
okay?
course. Extremely annoyed, but it's also very recognizable.
And your sister, does she have this as well?
No, no, we're
No.
very different personalities,
Hmm.
very different. Our lives have turned out very different. My mother says she has two only child.
Hmm.
So no, I guess she was less fortunate. She has found more struggles on her
Hmm.
path. And she works for a social employer. So she has limitations in finding her way in the workplace, and she has limitations in finding her way to get along with people, which makes me feel extra fortunate because it's not something she chose. It's not
Yeah.
her, uh, yeah, not her choice to be confronted with so many struggles. So it
Yeah.
makes me feel like I have to seize every opportunity extra.
Yeah.
which I do.
Yeah. 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 Jump into it
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah. That's a great mindset. Um, but going back to your childhood, when you wanted to own a candy store.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, did you create a path towards that, or did you think about that already, or was it just when I'm growing up, I just want to have a candy store, or
Well, actually, the thoughts I had were my parents had shops in clothing and textile and all kind of, in Dutch you would call it a winkel van Sinkel,
hmm
with lots of stuff. And I thought that was, just lots of things I wasn't interested in. So the ultimate version of that seemed a candy store. That was the ultimate version of a shop. And I loved the fact that you met people the whole day. People would come in, buy stuff, you would say hi and bye and have nice conversations. I like that.
hmm
So I guess that stayed. I want to have people around. I want to meet people and stay in conversation. And along the way, I also found that I really love language. I love words. I love playing with words. So then I decided that journalism would be a super extra job to do along with the candy store. And I was really expecting to go to a school for journalism. But I also found out that that's quite a difficult job too. And it's a job that is not really rewarding because it's a struggle, I think, for life if you become one. So I guess I also was looking for some sort of success and recognition. And I like nice things. So fashion designer would be nice as well. Of course, my parents had clothing stores, so that kind of, flew in between.
yeah,
And then somewhere along the way, I decided, well, I don't know, I have to do something that is a little bit broader so I can choose my own path. So I ended up on a more, yeah, I would almost say shallow education of just marketing and sales and all that kind of things.
hmm
Basically, because I didn't know what I wanted to be. I guess I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up.
yeah, yeah. I think it's a recognizable. I think I mentioned it in one of the episodes before as well. The song that inspires me a lot is the song about the sunscreen song. I'm not
Hmm.
sure if you know it. Uh, it's it's from Bas Luhrmann, and he says it as well. The song is only about wearing sunscreen, but also
Yeah,
about advice in life, and that's basically the bottom line there. And he, in one sentence, he said, "The most interesting people I know didn't know what to do when they were 30, and even more interesting people I know still don't know it when they passed the 50, so,
yeah.
or something like that." But yeah, and that gave me a hope because I had the same. I didn't know what to do, so and it's nice to hear that you that you have the same. That you're always looking for. Okay, what will I do when I grow up?
Yeah.
So it's yeah, it's really recognizable. Yeah,
I still
it's funny.
feel I'm 44. I turned 44 last month, and I still feel like I'm kind of at the beginning of things. Maybe
Yeah,
that's not really realistic, but it really feels that way still.
yeah. So yeah, but that's nice, right? I
Yeah.
mean, yeah.
It also
Si-
makes you eager. It makes you eager to keep learning, and I think that's also when I became an entrepreneur. I think that was my whole ambition: keep learning every day. I want to keep learning. Don't want to do things that I already did before. I
yeah,
don't want to do a trick. I don't want to do whatever my manager says I have to do. I want to do what I think makes me more wise or more. Uh, a better brand strategist. I want to do what makes me learn every single day. And I think
yeah.
the only way to do that is to choose your own path.
How did you get that drive?
I don't know if I ever got it. I think it was just in me forever.
hmm
Learning is something I've always enjoyed. I was also the kid in school that would study just because I liked studying. I was the kid that would find out much more than was required for a project because I simply enjoyed learning. Wikipedia is like heaven for people like me.
Yeah.
The internet was a revelation that really, it was super. Everything is on the internet. You can
Yeah.
learn everything you want. But it also, it's part of how I became an entrepreneur. I was working for a big company, a pharma company,
Yeah.
and it was a very big company, which also made it hard to make a difference. It was hard to see the result of the things I did. In such of course, everybody looks at the bottom lines and how sales go. But if you're in marketing in such a international global environment and there's so many products that are sold by the company, it's very hard to see what you changed.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of wore me out. I thought, yeah, well, do I really want to do this? And then my eldest son was born, and I kind of grew tired of traveling so much. So I was traveling to the United States every month. I was traveling around Europe to trade fairs, to all kinds of things. And I thought, yeah, this is not what I want. Again, I wanted everything. I wanted to be able to set my own agenda. I wanted to be able to spend time with my child. I wanted to be able to have an interesting job. And I wanted to be more ambitious. That's impossible, but not if you have your own business, because then you can
Exactly.
set your own goals. So
Yeah.
I had so many requirements. No company would have hired me. So I decided to become my own boss and start a company.
Yeah. So that was kind of the turning point for you.
Yeah, it was absolutely the turning point because I wanted, on one hand, I wanted to stay on, in Champions League. I want to be able to do stuff that still challenges me. I want to learn every day. And on the other hand, I did not want to work 60 hours a week anymore because that doesn't really collide with family life. So this way, I was still able to do it all and
Yeah.
fill all the ambitions. And of course, it's not always perfect, and the balance is not always good. Sometimes the scale tips in one side or the other. But, you know, give and take, I think it works. For me, it works.
Yeah. 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 I mean, you're still doing it, so
Yeah,
that's the proof, right?
yeah. But that's
Yeah.
that's like a little over 10 years ago. My
Mm-hmm.
oldest son is 11 now, so it's 11 and a bit years ago.
Yeah.
And yeah, I still feel like I'm learning every day, and I still feel like I'm um, pushing my ambition. I still feel like I can I can set the ambitions again every day. I can decide what the goals are. Where am I going? Where am I growing? What am I learning? I can still decide what I want to be when I grow up.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And what your path is towards it. But you always work with goals then? Is it always a
Yes,
goal that you have to, yeah?
yeah. Sometimes it's not like a really fixed goal. Sometimes it's not something that is really tangible. But when I started the firm that we currently have, Arthur and Brent, I did not really have that much experience in branding. I was in global marketing, and I noticed and saw what branding does and how important it was. And of course, I learned a lot in the companies that I worked for, but I was never responsible for branding. But it was the thing that I loved most and the things that I found most interesting. So I decided that I would become a specialist.
Mm-hmm.
Is that a goal? Yeah, I guess it is, but it's just never finished. You can never say, okay, well, this is it. I am the specialist. Doesn't
Yeah,
work like that. But along the way, you find that if people also give you the opportunities that you're asking for, let me please do this for you. Um, and if you show that you try really hard, and that you learn along with them, it works. You can just reschedule your ambition each time and go for your goals.
yeah,
We did the same for employer branding. Employer branding, that's just another kind of branding, right? Can we do that? I think we can. Let's give it a try and do it. And it worked. So
and
that's
then
how we, yeah?
for yourself, sorry, but then that means that if you jump into it, That means that you are going to study to learn things about the branding or
Yeah,
the employee branding. How do you do that? Via the internet or reading books or no, maybe in the
everything.
future listening
Reading
to
books,
podcasts?
finding specialists to talk to, learn from others, um, almost like internships. Just find partners with whom you can experience those things for the first time. Read books, find it on the internet, look for cases, but also really form your own opinion on them. If you read cases from things that are um, assumed very successful, you can still try to find your own things in there. Why do you think it's successful? What is the bigger line? What's the background? How would you copy this? How would it work for your own customers? And by answering all those questions, you can really make it. You can own it basically.
Yeah,
But it's indeed also about studying, reading the books, reading all the literature. But talking to people, I guess, is most um, the quickest way. If you find somebody who will take you along and learn it, make you learn it, or well, teach it to you, that's the best way.
yeah. But in a sense, it means that now you're specialized in as a brand strategist. Um, that's for now. So it could be that in a year you think, okay, now I don't want to be that anymore. I want to do something else within the company you own. That's possible, right? Or
That's
do you
possible. I still want to be
you
a
don't know?
journalist and a fashion designer. So one day I'm going to write a book about all the things that I learned, I hope.
Yeah, yeah.
And maybe it's not fashion, but I still have a love for design.
Hmm.
So I really try to work together with design. I'm definitely not a designer, but um, I can. Um, I've learned that if I work together with a designer and brand strategy becomes design, it really helps if the designer knows what you want to achieve, where you want to go with the brand, what kind of associations you want to have, and it makes the design better. So the designer is happy, the customer is happy, and I'm very happy because it has become tangible. So
Yeah.
I think yeah, except for the candy store, everything else kind of found its way into the work that I'm doing right now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, that's funny. And do you think in the future, in the near future, you will start your candy store? Still?
Yeah, why not?
Still?
It's,
Yeah.
I have a dream that one day when I'm quite old, um, I may not want to do this work anymore, but not working at all would mean meeting less people. It would mean sitting on the couch and not doing anything. I don't think that would be good for me.
Mm-hmm.
So I think at that point I might open like a coffee bar,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
and you can have nice conversations with people. It's not hard to make coffee. I can do that until I'm like 95, I guess,
yeah,
and have nice conversations about life, about things that happen, about with younger people, see what
yeah,
they are going for. And I think that would be, the ultimate success of a equivalent of a candy store.
yeah,
I'll
yeah,
sell
yeah.
cookies
True.
too,
Yeah,
just to make sure
yeah,
that it kind of fits.
yeah, yeah. Exactly. Then it's checked.
Yeah,
That reminds me of when I was in high school. There was really a little candy store in a house of an older woman. And I think she was like 60, 70 years old. But when we had a break, we always went there
yeah,
to buy some candy. And it was really small, She was standing like this because she didn't have that much space. And yeah, but I think that kept her young as well because every time yeah, the younger kids were visiting her and having a little chat, and but most important, buying some candy, of course.
yeah.
So yeah,
She probably enjoyed the company and the conversations with the kids
yeah,
much more than just selling whatever candy.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that will be your future, maybe.
yeah, I think so.
Well, with the coffee house then.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
bar.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I can do
exactly.
some branding projects on the side maybe.
Yeah. um, but this is really typical for you, right? Because when you finish your bachelor, when you finish your study, was it a bachelor or a university, a
It was a
master?
bachelor, yeah.
Bachelor, yeah. You started to work for a company when the internet was just new,
Yeah,
right?
it was
And
just new, indeed.
and you jumped into it.
Yes, I had spent 1 semester of my studies in Finland, in Helsinki,
Hmm.
and we had to pick our courses there. It was like an exchange program, and one of the courses was internet. I thought, well, okay, let's just sign up and see what happens. And
Yeah.
there was this American professor who taught us that in the future everything would be sold via the internet. We listened to him and thought, well, I don't know about that.
Yeah.
But he said, yeah, one day we'll order groceries via the internet. We'll read the newspaper online, and I was completely fascinated because it was new. Because well, there was so much to learn. There was so much there. And then when I came back and had to finish my own bachelor program, I decided that that would be a very nice specialization. It could be the topic where I could really jump in and just find out. So I did that. I just jumped in and see what happened. And at that time, being an online marketer or being in online marketing wasn't the same thing as it is right now. Right now, that has more to do with advertising and has more to do with just optimizing sales cycles and stuff like that. And at the time, it was just everything in communications and marketing that could be done online. Well, okay, then it's online. Then that's your specialization. So I worked in the online departments of a few companies,
Hmm.
and one of them was an internet service provider that was new in those days.
Yeah.
When I started there, they had basically a lot of budget and no clue. So you're learning together. It's maybe it's the hardest way to learn, but it's also most fun.
Yeah.
It's a lot
But
of falling and standing up, but it did teach me um, how to fall and stand up, I guess. And
yeah.
that is one of the skills that you really need as an entrepreneur. I can, I can keep saying, well, ambitions and goals and go for it. But of course, it's not the case that everything is successful at the first try. Sometimes you have to try again and again and again and again. And that's something you have to learn as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it absolutely is. Yeah, yeah. But it's funny that when you started working on the internet, with the internet in that sense, and that you were working for an internet service provider, that it's crazy. It's not that long ago that the internet was invented, and look at where we are right now,
Yeah.
how fast that went. And the professor you had is really inspiring. He is a visionary in that sense, He
Yeah, he
already
really
saw it
was.
coming. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, definitely.
yeah. But the fun thing is that, and I experienced this as well, is that when you are working with the internet, yeah, basically nobody had a clue what to do with it, right?
No,
So
nobody had a clue. And
yeah,
in the first years, people were still asking, well, where does it come from? How does the internet work? Who's making internet? People had no idea how it worked. And I used to explain that it would be, at some point, it would be like power. You just plug it in and it works. And
yeah,
people would say, no, it doesn't work like that. But that is how it ended up. And nobody questions where the internet's coming from anymore. We only complain about bandwidth and speed, but that's it. We just
exactly.
assume it's there.
Yeah, yeah. And we're frustrated when it's not.
Exactly.
Yeah,
But it changed a lot of businesses. Sometimes for the better, sometimes maybe not.
hmm,
But it has changed the way we behave as consumers. It has changed the way we interact as companies. I think it's been a super exciting past, what is it, 25 years or so.
yeah, yeah. Absolutely, yeah. And it brought already so much. And I think about our children. they are just growing up with internet. For them, it's normal. It's exactly what you said. It's like getting some power
Yeah,
out of the wall. Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's there.
yeah.
Um, and if I think about that, I always feel like my grandfather who was sharing stories. Yeah, back in my days, you know, but it's the same because
It's the
back in our
same.
days there was no internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's funny, yeah. Yeah, but okay, so you worked for several companies, and then your last company was the international where you had your international. Was it
It was
oil broker?
MSD. It's a very
MSD.
big, yeah, MSD
Yeah.
pharmaceutical company.
Ah, okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. And at that point, when you were having when you had a child, you said, okay, now is the moment. I want to start working for myself,
Yeah.
and you never regret it, I guess.
No, I never regretted that. I think
No.
it's maybe the most easy decision I ever took, and the one that is the one I never doubted. I never doubted whether it was the best choice I made, and it was the best choice I could make at that point. And I still think that I don't ever. You asked in the yes or no questions whether I would become an employee ever
Yeah.
again. Well,
Yeah.
not if I get to choose. I
No.
don't want to be an employee anymore. I want to choose my own path, choose my own ambitions, and choose my own learning path. Basically, I want to keep
Hmm.
learning forever. I think you can only do that if you choose your own path.
Yeah.
So I want to be a better entrepreneur every day, I guess.
Yeah.
And please don't make me an employee anymore.
Please. But at that point, you said it was the most easiest choice for me to make.
Yeah.
But was it at that point as well that you experienced the same as you are experiencing now?
Yeah, to me, it sounded like the only option I had. If I wanted to really fulfill all those ambitions I had with all the requirements that I had, it would be the only option. And I
Hmm.
come from a family of entrepreneurs who, my mother is somewhere in her 60s and she's still running 4 shops, working 70 hours a week. At the time, my dad was still alive as well when I started my own business. And I called them super excited and said, I'm going to be an entrepreneur as well. I registered with the Chamber of Commerce and I'm going to be an entrepreneur like you. And
Yeah.
they said, oh, but you had such a good job and, a nice paycheck every month. Why? And I was kind of flabbergasted. I thought they would be really proud of me. And then something like a week later, they came by with a gigantic bunch of flowers and they said, "Yeah, we're very sorry. We just um, we just wanted more for you than what we're doing. But on the other hand, we're really proud that you're taking this step, and we feel that it's not fair that we said just stick with the security of a job."
Yeah.
Um, and that really meant a lot to me because I wanted to be an entrepreneur like them. I wanted to follow in their footsteps. Maybe not with the same business, but I think it has inspired me always.
Yeah. And didn't they expect you to join their business in the future?
No, they didn't. I think they recognized early on that it was not my type of business. It's not.
Hmm.
I don't want to. Um, well, yeah, maybe when I'm 95 in a coffee bar, but I don't want to be in one place and run a shop. That's not my thing. I think also because of the education I had, I want to be able to think a little broader and yeah, a little more strategic thinking is what I really enjoy. So I don't think there would be enough room for that in the shop with women's clothing,
Hmm.
what it is today. But yeah, no, I don't think they ever expected that.
No. But it's funny that they responded, yeah, not shocked, but that that they were yeah, not fully supporting your
Yeah,
choice initially, while there are entrepreneurs as well, and while they know what entrepreneurship can bring you, but maybe that's the thing as well, right?
I think
That they
that's the
know.
thing. Indeed, they also experience the highs and lows, and the money coming in easily, but also coming in a lot less easily, and they kind of wished for their child to be, to have secure income and to not be able to, not have to go through struggles like that.
Yeah.
But I think the struggles are, yeah, that's part of the deal. I accept that.
Yeah. But is that also because you saw it? You were living in the middle of it. Like I mean, your father and your mother were working for themselves, and they had their struggle. Did they share these struggles with you, or
Yeah, yeah.
when you were
I
living?
think we saw, at least I saw that as a kid, definitely. You can, I think maybe that's something that children of entrepreneurs recognize, but my parents were in their business together, working together, being husband and wife, but also being owners of the same company. I can't remember ever in my childhood that they were discussing other topics than the business. They
Yeah.
tried sometimes really hard, and then they would succeed for like half an hour, and then
Yeah.
they would just, go back to discussing the business. It always was like that. So there were no, and I don't think they ever tried to hide when things weren't going well. They also, we also celebrated when it went well, and that's yeah. I think that's part of what I saw all my life.
Mm-hmm.
The bumps in the road, but also the good times. Yeah, I guess that's why it doesn't feel bad for me. Maybe
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
feels okay. Feels like normal.
Yeah. Exactly. And did they include you in these discussions?
Yes, when I grew older, definitely, and
Yeah.
yeah, and also because um, yeah, I think the generation before us were not able to study as much as our generation. So sometimes they would just ask for okay, if you look at it from your viewpoint, how would you do this, or what do you think? I also worked in their shop from, I think, when I was like 14 years old. I would be in the store and sell to the customers. And yeah, I guess you kind of really literally grow up with it. And after my father passed away, I think, yeah, even more, because my mother would also need somebody to discuss with and somebody to kind of um, to think along in how to go through things, or how decisions, big decisions, what shall I do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How old were you when your father passed away?
He passed away 8 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. 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 Okay. So you weren't living at home anymore. Yeah. No, you
No,
had
no, I
your
wasn't
own
living it.
child already. Yeah. Exactly. You were
Yeah,
working for
exactly.
yourself. Yeah. 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 And your mother is so she's open for your advice there, and to yeah yeah
Sometimes. She's an
yeah
entrepreneur as well, so
yeah yeah exactly.
choosing her own path.
But your mother comes from an entrepreneurial family as well. Is that
No, no,
correct?
she doesn't. My father. My
Oh,
father
your
comes
father
from
was
an
it? Okay.
entrepreneurial family. My grandmother started a shop
Yeah.
when she was young,
Yeah.
and eventually her children became part of the business, and yeah, kind of yeah, brought it forward. One
Mm-hmm.
shop became more shops, and her sons became part of the business. Their wives became part of the business, and that's how it became a family business, which
Yeah.
also kind of split, came back together, split. It's well, I guess a family business is always something that is hard,
Yeah.
but yeah, at this point, my mom is still running a business that eventually comes from one shop that my grandma started so many years ago.
Yeah. With the same name?
No, no, no,
Also.
no.
Okay. Okay.
Everything
Yeah. Yeah.
changed somewhere along the way. There were different routes. So it's a completely different company.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that was the beginning.
So by then you already saw a lot of rebranding, I guess.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
Okay. What do you think is the most important thing you learned while growing up with your parents as entrepreneurs?
That's a very hard question, actually. Um, well, I think one of the things that I definitely learned is goal setting. If there's a way, you will find it. If there's a way you can bend things towards the goal that you're striving for, then yeah, you're gonna find it, and you're gonna try another corner and see if I do it this way or that way, what happens. It is finding your path towards your goal. I think that's what they always did as well.
Yeah.
And today I still meet so many entrepreneurs. I learn from them every day. Of course, in brand strategy, one of the things that I always feel very much honored in is that management invites me and my colleagues into their boardrooms, and they share with us what their goals are, but also what their successes are, what their struggles are, what their questions are, their challenges, and they trust us to advise them, and they trust us to help them add a chapter to that story. And they ask for our help, but I actually learn from every assignment.
Yeah.
I learn each time so many new things that I can apply in the next assignment, but it makes me try harder with every new assignment. So it's the learning thing, I guess, is what is the ambition that always stayed. And because I can do new assignments each time, and I get to choose which ones I chase, I also kind of get to choose what I learn. And being with entrepreneurs all the time makes my life so much more interesting and richer. I think that is basically, I did not only learn from my own entrepreneurial family, but I learned from every entrepreneur that I meet.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's so interesting. I mean, that's so inspiring.
Yeah.
And the fact that's a real big quality of you, of course, is that you can learn and then you can apply it immediately.
Yes.
And that's a great strength.
It's a strength, but I think it's also practice, that because it's doing it is the best way to learn. I still believe that. And if you are able to apply, then you can master it, then you can own it. And we get to think along with companies in all kind of different industries. Sometimes it's social housing companies, sometimes it's industrial companies, sometimes it's a B2B company, thousands of different variations. And still, if you are able to see the not only the differences, but also the things in which they are the same, you kind of get to see the dots, and you're able to connect it. And that makes it so much fun, because if you find the dots, you can help them.
Yeah.
So that's basically what we do. It's a puzzle each time.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So when you started for yourself, you started immediately together with two partners, right?
Yes. Yeah.
Um, Talking about puzzling, I mean, every partner, I guess, has his own experience and its qualities.
Yeah.
But how did you manage to find this team? How did you get together?
Well, we are former colleagues. We used to work at the same company at some point in time. And when I was thinking about becoming an entrepreneur, I contacted one of them because she had become an entrepreneur like 2 years earlier. So we had a coffee and discussed how life was as an entrepreneur and what her experiences was, and things like that. And the other partner was always in contact with both of us as well. So he was kind of the connecting pin. And we all decided that we wanted to become entrepreneurs, but we also thought that together it would be more fun, it would be more easy, it would be also, we would be able to learn from each other because you can discuss things.
Yeah.
I thought being an entrepreneur all by yourself could be a bit lonely. And it was not a really well thought through decision. We just decided to go for it, see where it would end. And then, well, it didn't end, at least not
No,
yet.
exactly. but when you started, did you already know that you wanted to specialize yourself into brand strategy,
No,
or as a
no,
person?
no. We started out as a marketing communications agency. That's what we
Mm-hmm.
thought would be best because that was where our experience was. So online and offline marketing communications, yeah, all kinds of things. But still, the strategy part is what gave us back most. It's what customers really rewarded most. That's what they gave us compliments about. It's
Mm-hmm.
also what we found most fun to do. And because we're entrepreneurs, we can choose. We can
Yeah.
choose to just do that and leave the other part of communications to others. And at some point in time, we decided that being a specialist is, well, not easier, but it brings you more because you can be the best at something. You can choose your category and really, really make sure that you learn everything there is to learn about that. So that's what we did, not just me,
Mm-hmm.
but also my other partners at Arthur and Brent. And it paid off. We got recognized for being knowledgeable in this area, for really exploring the category for as much as we could, and we decided to find partners for all the other things. So we never hired a designer, we never hired text or copywriters, but we worked together with a team. And
Mm-hmm.
for each customer, we find the perfect match. There's no perfect designer for every company. There's a lot of designers that have a great fit with some companies. So we
Yeah.
make that match for every account. We basically put together a new team for every customer and work together on that account. So we're very, yeah, maybe unstructured, but also very fluid company that can bend towards what our customers need.
Yeah.
But strategy and branding is always the core. We look at everything from the brand.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to make podcasts, when we were exploring this and you asked me for this podcast, my questions to you were, why are you making podcasts for this company? What
Yeah.
is their strategy? What is their goal? And that, yeah, if you know why you do things, it makes it much more easy to choose what you need to do and how you need to do it.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It was fun because when we had this pre-interview, I really noticed that you were really asking these, yeah,
Yeah.
strategical questions as well, and it triggered me as well. So that was a fun conversation already. Um, but but um, um, it's funny to see how this yeah evolved eventually, where you got and that you had the insight that okay, our biggest potential here is from a brand perspective.
Yeah.
Um, but the way you are working really fits your character as well, I guess, because if you are always working with new people, that can be very inspiring and that can teach us. You can learn a lot of them, I guess. But you
Yeah.
need a very big network. Did you already had
Yeah.
that, or did you build that up?
Um, um, we were three partners, as you also explained before, and one of our partners had a gigantic network, and the other two, me included, we kind of built our network in the years that came. So of course, I had a network because I also had like 15 years of experience,
Yeah.
but in different areas. So I needed a different network. And we did find that having a network is extremely important. It is very important, especially if you want to try new things, because people need to trust you as a person and give you the opportunity to give it a go. And that is, I guess, what happened, especially in the beginning, in the early years. Then we got assignments because people said, "Well, we love to work with you, and
Mm-hmm.
we'll see what happens." And sometimes we had to work really, really, really hard to get the result that we had to achieve, put in way more hours than we thought or budgeted. Um, but that is, guess, your own educational investment if you start something new. And by now, we have a network, also a network of customers that keep returning and asking us to advise them again or to help them again. And that is the biggest compliment I think you can get as an agency, that customers return and ask for your services again. You know, if they pay the bill, that's great. But if they ask you back, that's even better. That's
Yeah.
worth even more.
Yeah. But if you are focusing on the strategy of the brand, um, that means, yeah, well, that's an assignment. So you can work it out, and I think every assignment has new angles, and none of the assignments are the same. But at one point it stops, right?
Yeah.
If you are rolling out that specific strategy, your work is done. But why do they come back to you then?
Because it's, yes, the strategy can be done, but it's never finished. So once you know where you want to go, there's always things that need to kind of click. If you have a new brand positioning strategy, you need to make sure that your employees are on board. That's a different assignment, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, we see that the war on talent, as they call it, is really starting to become an issue for many companies. So how can you translate your positioning and your branding towards employer branding? What does that take? How are we going to do that? That's another assignment as well.
Yeah.
Um, so that there's always spin-offs. But the beginning of this year, we also acquired a company, an online marketing company, which is, you know, really into advertising and what we want to do is they kind of run their own business. They have their own customers, and it's that's fine. But in the end, we want to bring that together. We think that reputation management online, we think that employer branding and job marketing, it will all become much more interconnected in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And it also means that once your branding assignment is done, you can still offer services to your customer and still help them along in the execution a little bit further.
Yeah.
So it's an objective that we have. We acquired the company with the people with the knowledge inside. So we'll see how we are able to kind of make that work together. But it's starting to really happen already. We can see that people recognize that online is a channel that is still growing in importance, and it's still something that you have to explore. Well, today we're in an environment in the world where trade shows, for instance, are currently not happening because of the COVID crisis. So how are we going to meet our customers if that was our biggest channel before?
Mm-hmm.
People are exploring and learning, and we feel like we can play a role in that. But from branding, from the branding perspective, if this is what you want to be, and this is where you want to go, and this is the message that you want to give to your audience, these are the channels that you can use.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense. The acquisition absolutely makes sense if you.
Yeah,
It brings it a step further in that sense, for
it does,
sure.
it does, and
Yeah.
it also it's something new that we have to learn. It's you know,
Yeah.
making sure that things interconnect in a new way. It
Yeah.
makes it also fun. It makes our entrepreneurship new again.
Yeah. Yeah. So you're happy here again because
Yeah.
you have to learn again.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah. 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 Circle is round then. Yeah. Yeah. That's really. I always find it really interesting. Yeah, like we said, the internet is like 25 years old now, and it arrived, and I mean, you cannot think that it will be gone ever. But I always, because you said something about that, I always are so triggered by the fact that there are still companies that don't fully benefit from the online opportunities there are.
Yes.
It always wonders me how is this possible? It's so
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah, I think your own company is actually a quite good example where they CCV is in payment terminals and software. So at some point, they were the king of payment at physical points, physical outlets. And right now, they're also making kind of a super sprint towards a more diverse way of learning or sharing their knowledge and their products.
Yeah,
Um, that's also a story that many companies go through, I guess. And we see it as well, but we also see that not all consumers fully use the opportunities of internet still. There is a group of people that is not coming along. There is a group of people that just, they're letting go. And it provides a gap in society. People that don't understand how they should communicate with the government online, people that don't understand
yeah,
how to make a payment for their rent online. Those people are really, really having a difficult time right now, and the gap is only getting bigger. So, at one point, online is going to be the norm for many things. How do we make sure that people like that are still connected? I think it's
yeah.
something that we should worry about as a society. I don't know if we really do enough.
No, yeah. No, I don't know either. But what do you do as a company? Do you act on that, or can you do something with it?
I think it's difficult. We work for non-profit companies as well, in the cultural sector, but also in social housing. And one of the things that I learned from that is that there is a group of people, a big group of people who struggle with this. And I think they deserve our support. And companies like social housing companies are so super important for this society. I wouldn't have learned that if I wouldn't have worked for those type of companies. So I don't know if we really do something as a company, as Arthur and Brent for them. Um, I think we do see them, and I think we have we like working for non-profit companies um, in combination with normal profit companies because we feel like they do contribute, and by helping them, we can contribute in our turn.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Yeah, it's an interesting topic, and but eventually, yeah, it sounds a bit harsh, but this problem will solve itself, of course, I guess, because yeah, the younger ones are really growing up with the internet and everything is online. So
Yeah,
yeah, but
true.
that doesn't mean there is a gap now, and that there isn't a problem at this point. So yeah, that's yeah, it's really nice if you can yeah do something as a company or be aware of it or help other companies to do something on it. So yeah, that's
Yeah, sometimes I wish we could do more. It's something that we want to explore as well as a company. Where can we do more than just, uh, than just our job? How could we pay something back? And that is one of the goals that we're going to set for the future. I don't know how yet, and I don't know exactly where yet, but
yeah,
it's
yeah.
going to happen at some point.
Okay. Yeah, that was one of my questions, not related to this topic, but where do you see yourself in 5 years and Arthur and Brent in 5 years?
Um, Well, I think the experience of acquiring a different type of business that we can, you know, that complements what we already do is an experience that really it I think we should do more of that. So probably we will grow. I think where for a long time we were a little bit scared of growing and thought, well, what we're doing is nice. Let's keep it this way. We understand it. I think we need to grow. I think we need to grow and become more diverse in what we do, how we do it, so that we can help our customers even better. So in 5 years, I guess we'll be a bigger company. We'll be a company with more diverse package of things that we offer. Branding will still be our main asset and the thing that we start from. But content management, content creation is something where we really see that customers still struggle. If we want to help them better, we need to solve that for them. Employer branding is becoming like a new separate topic almost in our specialization that we want to explore further and become better at. So that's something that we want to grow in. But also just pure online marketing and helping companies solve their challenges there. I think that's something where we can still grow as well. There's so much more to learn.
Yeah, yeah. And you as a person?
I, as a person, I think, yeah, 5 years. That's quite some time actually. I think I will be exactly where I am right now, but as part of a bigger plan, a bigger company, more colleagues, maybe another office in another city, so that we can approach a new network and grow. That's basically where we want to be.
Yeah, yeah. Sounds ambitious, and
Yeah.
and that's a good step. One thing I like to highlight is your motto. You mentioned it in the pre-interviews a lot, not a lot, but that is one of the things which came back to me, and that was the fact that you find ambition more important than experience.
Yeah.
Can you share a bit more about that? Because I think it's a really nice mindset.
It goes back to the learning part, I guess. If you would hire somebody for your own company, would you choose them because of their experience or because of their ambition? I guess if I have to make that choice, I would choose the person that has the ambition and not the experience, because it makes you eager. It makes sure that you really keep learning. It makes sure that you make the effort. Ambition is what drives me, and ambition doesn't have to be only work related. It can also be personal ambition. Experience is something that is of course great, but only if you can do something with it, if you apply it, and that is where ambition comes along. And I know that you're a parent as well. If you become a parent, you have no experience. You don't
Yeah.
even need a diploma for it. You need a driving license to drive a car. You need all kinds of papers to own a house. Have a kid, nobody cares. You can just do it. You need no experience at all. So it is your ambition that really shows you the way. You have the ambition to make sure your child is safe, is healthy, is growing up happy. All those things that is based on ambition. And the same goes for all the other things in life. If you really know where you want to go, your ambition is what drives you much further than experience. Experience is, bygones. Ambition is what makes you make the right choices towards the things where you want to go.
Yeah. Well said, and a lovely mindset, and so basically, follow to conclude, follow your ambition, and you will be happy eventually, right?
Yeah. As long as you have both personal and work related ambitions. And now, life is
Exactly.
about more than work.
Yeah, that's true. Absolutely true. Kitty, I really enjoyed this conversation. I have to finish it, unfortunately, but I want to thank you very much for sharing your story and all the interesting insights, sharing the interesting insights. I have only one more question left, and that is, do you know one person who can be interesting for the before and after show as well?
Yes, of course, I thought about this because I knew you were going to ask. And there's another entrepreneur that I think is somebody who has a lot of drive, a lot of ambition, and is very inspiring. His name is Bas. He works at Reclamebureau De Code, and I think he would be a very nice guest for your podcast.
All right. Thank you very much for sharing, and we will definitely reach out to him to ask him to join the show.
Yeah, I will provide you with his contact details so that you can reach out.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Okay, Kitty, thank you for your time, and I hope to talk to you in the future.
Yes, thanks for inviting me. It was fun.